You know how there's plugins that can make your voice go really deep?
Yeah.
Can we do that for my intro?
Why?
I just think it'll sound really cool. You know, like a film trailer.
Okay. Yeah.
Is it on? Can you put it on?
Hang on. Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome to the Failing Writers Podcast, a podcast all about writing and how not to fail. Trust me, you need this in your life.
Did it work?
Yep.
Did it sound really cool?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, cool.
Nice.
Now, you know me, John. I don't like to say things just to shock people.
Right.
But guess what I did at the weekend?
Oh, God. I mean, I kind of didn't guess, really. What?
John, I did something writerly.
What did you?
The other week, it was National Poetry Week.
It was?
I went to a poetry workshop.
You did not.
In the City Library.
Shut the front door. Did you really?
Put my name down, got a ticket, and spent 2 hours of really quite fun time writing some poems and having a little bit of chat about poetry. And
did you record it?
No, I didn't.
Tom. Oh, well.
It wouldn't have made for good audio because a lot of it was
you sat writing.
A lot of it was
poem.
just sat scribbling.
Probably not.
Yeah, but it was really, really good fun.
That's amazing. When do we get to hear the poem? He's gone very quiet. What have you gone so quiet,
I don't think
Tom?
that was the. I didn't think about that. Yeah, no, I don't know.
Yeah, you set yourself up there, mate.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll hear that later.
Another time, I think, is the
Yeah.
answer to that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will remember.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Check you out.
I know. Yeah, it was really good fun.
Poetic escapades. Anyway,
Indeed.
enough of that.
Yeah.
We should move on, shouldn't we?
On with the show.
Yeah, because this week we're looking into a subject that's possibly a little bit above our pay grade.
Is it writing?
No, it's the mysterious world of online marketing and book talk and stuff.
Oh, yeah, scary.
And how to tap into the current trends to give your book a proper boost.
Yeah, it's definitely an area we're not massively familiar with, isn't it? Because when we were young and full of enthusiasm back in the day, the online world was basically just chat rooms and badges. Or the good old days, as I like to call them.
Yes, they really were. But things have moved on, I think, sort of. And we're now in a world of viral social media. And that's what we're hoping to learn a bit more about today, because we're talking to a real-life TikTok sensation about how her book got traction on the socials.
Yes, indeed, John. But before we do that, we should doff our cap to our lovely sponsor.
We should. The wondrous writing software Scrivener. While we're pining for the old days, let's give them a proper good old-fashioned 90s drum and bass big up. Big up Scrivener! That is a lovely big up job, that, Tom. That is well nice. Credit where it's due, mate.
Enough respect to the massive.
And if you want 20% off Scrivener, which of course you do, go to literatureandlatte.com and use that sneaky code. Nice. That's the code failing.
That's what I said. Everyone heard that because that's what I just said.
just in case
clear.
It wasn't entirely clear. But that will get you 20% off the price of Scrivener, just for being a Failing Writers podcast listener.
It does have some benefits.
Yeah, there's a couple. And then, with Scrivener, you can finally become the proper writer you always knew you could be, if only you'd had Scrivener.
Yeah, that's right. If you don't come out of it with an award-winning, best-selling book, John will actually refund the rest of the price of Scrivener. Is that what you're saying with that, John?
That's not quite what I'm saying, Tom.
No, but it's true. I know what you're saying, because writing is hard enough, isn't it? It's like, why do you want to make things harder on yourself?
Exactly.
And we are generally both fans of Scrivener, aren't we?
We are.
So we do kind of sing its praises whenever we can.
Yeah,
speaking of which, we should mention that Scrivener are also sponsoring our big old annual flash fiction competition, which is on right now, officially underway. So if you haven't already, do yourself a favour, have a listen to the previous episode, and that's got all the information you need about entering. We talked to our lovely judge, Sarah from Writers HQ, and there's this special phrase that you have to include in your story to be able to enter. So, give it a go. You never know. The muse might just give you one of her cheeky tickles on your writing underbelly, and that could earn you 500 quid.
She does that sometimes, doesn't she?
Oh, the muse?
Yeah.
God, yeah. You'd just be there, like, minding your own business,
Yeah.
sat at your computer writing absolute bobbins. And then she pops up out of nowhere. Before you know it, she's gone and sprinkled a little bit of inspiration powder down the back of your pants.
Is that how it works?
I think it is.
Right,
Isn't it?
cool.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway, moving swiftly on to the actual subject of this episode, whilst also actually giving Scrivener one more cheeky little mention.
Oh, my God, stop going on about Scrivener.
I read an interesting article on LinkedIn by Kirk McElhern on Scrivener's blog with the subheading, "Encouraging news about bookstores suggesting that reading is on the rise, in part thanks to young readers and book talk." And that piqued my interest. Did you read this, Tom?
I'd seen that you'd send that to me. I haven't read it.
At least you're honest. Okay. Yeah, so after a period of declining book sales, it appears that fiction book sales are slightly up in the UK in 2025. And more good news, the number of new bookstores has increased over the last couple of years too, particularly small indie bookshops, but also like Waterstones are due to open new stores apparently.
Yeah, that is good news, isn't it? Because that feels like it's going against the perceived tide, if you like, in your head of like bookshops closing and things like that petering out. I hope it's part of sort of a new revolution, a new stage we're moving into where people are kind of treasuring these smaller independent things.
Yeah, that's it. And it's thought to be partly down to the joy of real-life browsing, which I can very much understand.
Yeah, no, being in there and holding books in your hand and going round and
smelling the pages.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's better, isn't it, than just sitting in a darkened room on your phone scrolling through Amazon.
It is, yeah. That's not nearly as much fun. So, the rise is being put down partly to young people buying more books, which is cool.
But aren't young people meant to be reading less books?
Yes, which is
so
weird.
They're buying more books. Maybe they're just buying them and not reading them, or how is that? Or is it just some groups of young people really keen and they're getting through a lot of books, but on average...
It might suggest that young people are visiting libraries less, that are buying, maybe collecting books.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Because the key to this whole desire for real books seems to be driven by recommendations on TikTok or Reels by book influencers.
I tell you, what would be good is if we could talk to someone who actually understands something about all this stuff. You keep saying book talk and things, and I'm nodding.
Yeah, whilst having completely glazed eyes.
Yeah.
So we should speak to a young person.
Yeah, a young writer person who seems to have unlocked the secret of book talk success.
How about someone like Autumn Woods, who seems to have unlocked the secret of book talk success?
Oh, that sounds
with her
good.
Dark academic romance, Nightshade.
Yeah, that'll do. Let's have a word with Autumn. Autumn Woods, thank you very much for joining us.
No, thank you for having me.
I guess, and you'll probably get asked this question all the time, first off, in interviews and things. But when you were at primary school and you sang songs in assembly, what was your favourite?
I feel like in the UK there's a classic one, it goes "We are the children of," and then you insert your school name there, and everyone who I've ever met thinks that their school name has the right amount of syllables for the song. But yeah, I loved that one.
When I was thinking about today's interview, I was wandering around and I started singing Autumn Days because of obviously your name, Autumn.
Oh, I feel like I know that one.
Tom. Yeah.
Yes.
Autumn days when the grass is jewelled and the silk inside a chestnut shell. Jet planes meeting in the air to be refuelled and the things I love so well.
That one's a little bit more intelligent than my one, which is just yelling.
John, you've got to chip into this. Did you sing at school? Did you go to a no singing school, John? Was it
Yeah,
quite
it was
strict?
a very strict policy.
No singing, no smiling, no running. Enjoy your day, children.
Yeah, the only one that springs to mind was a song we sang in French, and it was just all the flavours of ice cream.
That
And
sounds
that's the only one I
fantastic.
can- Yeah.
Le nougat, le framboise. Just like that.
It was a bit like that. It was
Le
very, very similar.
chocolat.
Abricot,
Wow.
banane, chocolat, café.
I love that.
That was the song.
The old French ice
Wonderful.
cream song there. Well, we don't have many shared memories. I was expecting more shared memories on that we could all get behind.
Hey, should we start talking about writing and books and stuff?
Go on
I mean,
then.
Crazy
Go on then.
idea.
Yes, I suppose while we're here. So, Autumn, is this your first traditionally published book?
Yes, it is.
Because I didn't realise
It
that
is.
you've got a self-published book a couple of years back.
Yes, so I self-published one maybe 2 or 3 years ago now, and then I actually wrote that book when I was 18.
Right.
So there's you can't buy it anymore. I took it down like last year.
Right.
Because I did not pay an editor at the time, and I'd love to. I think it's a good story. I'd love to go back and give it.
It got some cracking reviews on Amazon, by the way, didn't it?
Did it? I have no idea. My reviews are dead to me. I do not look.
I mean, it got one terrible review as well, but most of them.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
No, but most of them are really good. Yeah.
But yeah, I need to have it sort of re-edited and repolished, and then I'll probably put it back out into the world.
Did that have any bearing on you? So you didn't get spotted through that or anything like that?
No.
What was your path then to getting published with Nightshade?
So with Nightshade, I sort of, after my first book, I was like, well, you know what? Writing's not for me.
Oh, right, okay.
Oh, really?
I gave it a go, and then I logged
interesting.
off my author social media for 8 months. But then, I was, even though I wasn't actively promoting or posting, I was still writing, which is probably something I'll do forever. And then, suddenly I had a drafted book, and my partner actually told me, why don't you do something with it? Because, it's there and you like it and you think it's good. So I ended up booking an editor. Still in the mind, I'll get it edited, but I might not publish it. And
this is Nightshade you're talking about now? Yeah.
This is Nightshade, yeah. I had a really great editor go through it and had a couple of friends read it, and they were quite positive. And I actually queried it 2 or 3 times, which I know for querying is not that many times. I know friends who've queried in the hundreds. Yeah. And after my 3rd rejection, I was like, this is going to be a self-published book. I can't handle rejection.
I think that's where I'm going at the moment, Autumn, with my book. I'm like, yeah, this is...
It's kind of crushing. But I remember, a couple of them just never replied to me, and then one of them just said, this isn't what the market wants at the minute. So
how wrong they were.
I know. So then I decided
in your face.
I was going to self-publish, and September I announced the book, and January I published it. And then it's just been a whirlwind. It was getting a lot of traction sort of in release week just before it got published, and I had a couple of agents email me saying, your book's caught our eye, can we have a manuscript? And I also had a publishing house email me as well to say
just direct?
Yeah, do you have an agent? And I said no, but
wow.
I need to find one. And then signed with my agent maybe on release day or the day before or the day after. And then after adamantly telling her I'll never ever go trad, I love self-publishing, I then folded under my first offer the next week. So
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I know. I have strict views. How much? No, cool. We'll go with that. Yeah.
That was how it went, really.
That's fine.
Yeah, you're not kidding about a whirlwind. That's amazing.
It's been crazy.
And what do you think it was? The specifics of, just the way it exploded so quickly as a self-publishing book. And obviously most books that are self-published just go... bleh.
Well, my first one, it didn't do terrible, but it didn't do great, really. And this one, definitely social media.
What do you think was the spark?
TikTok is something that I'm not a particular social media lover, and a lot of I kept seeing sort of podcasts like this where authors would be like, if you're not on TikTok, you're not going to sell books, and I'd be like, that's such a load of rubbish. And then come January, just before release, I was like, I better give it a go. And then I just had things sort of going viral on there, and it really helped.
Autumn, imagine you were speaking to 2 middle-aged blokes who don't really understand TikTok, just to help our audience, obviously. What was your... Did you kind of learn as you're going along on TikTok? How did you attack it? What did you find that actually worked? What's your secret formula, Autumn?
For me, it's the shorter and the more concise your content, the better. I think everyone's attention spans have been fried these days. So probably even myself, if you're scrolling and you get a video of someone sitting down and they're like, hello, I'm gonna run you through. I'm like, no, I need to you need to have something that just grips people.
I mean, we lost most people in this interview when I started talking about primary school songs, and that's it. We missed the window.
But yeah, when most of my content is so simple, often one sentence, and obviously some videos, it's like a slot machine. TikTok, it's definitely. Instagram, I would say it's quality over quantity. TikTok, I would say it's the other way. Every video I post is just like a lottery ticket, and maybe twice a month you might hit the lottery, and the rest of your videos will flop.
So you mean just in terms of getting the numbers, the views, and
yeah,
people...
the views. You don't need followers so much. It's just the views. But a reel on Instagram, that hits 1 million views for me will probably sell 10% as many books as a TikTok that gets the same views.
Right, okay.
And describe the content, your content on TikTok.
So a lot of mine is, because I don't really put my face on my social media, so that kind of rules out one element of marketing. So for me, it's character art or like artwork for the book. So, you know, whether it's a landscape or pictures of the characters, I pay an artist to draw them, or I've drawn them myself as well, sometimes badly. And then I can just sort of describe the book in a way like, this is your main character, this is your other main character, this is the setting.
So it's just little hooks, isn't it? It's little...
Yeah, it really is like, oh, this happens and then this happens. So it's like simple 2 slides, you know.
Yeah.
She does this and he does this.
So it's almost like a mood board kind of thing, but just 2 slides of a mood board.
Yeah, exactly.
And I guess, I mean, we come from an advertising background, and I guess in terms of advertising, that actually makes sense, that it's basically just 4 or 5 seconds of saying, hey, you'll like this. It's almost like a little word of mouth recommendation in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes it's even just a sort of Kindle screenshot, a little tiny, like 4 lines on a Kindle screen. And it's just enough to... But some of them, you know, you post them and then you get like 10 likes and no views, and you're like, okay, well, that's not a winner. But then sometimes I post the same thing, the exact same video. I just had one that went viral the 5th time that I posted it.
Right.
So you don't like, sometimes it's just the audio.
A bit of perseverance.
Yeah, like if you put music over, sometimes the song is just going viral or it's just ending going viral. So it's just like I just make it up and it works.
Brilliant. When your publicity manager at Pan approached us and mentioned that you were a TikTok sensation, I had imagined that meant that basically you were creating all the content. But that's not really the case, is it? Like, you're a TikTok sensation in the sense that a load of people have made videos about your book. And that, in a way, is the most powerful thing. Because they're almost, well, you must look at them, but they're almost like religious, some of them.
Yeah.
There's a kind of fervour about them. There's one reader who almost can't talk because when she thinks about your characters, she gets teary.
I know, that is always nice to see.
That must slightly blow your mind.
It is. I mean, this whole thing has blown my... Like, I keep trying to get over, like, the previous thing. And before I can get over the previous thing, something else happens I can't get over. So it has been a real whirlwind. I mean, I literally didn't expect anything. You know, it sounds cheesy and a lot of authors say it. You know, if one person enjoys the book, it's a win. But for me, you know, this isn't like my main career, and it definitely wasn't while I was writing it. So it really was for me, like, if I didn't make any money but one person loved it, then and then I just keep meeting people. I just had some, like, my first couple of in-person events at the weekend, just gone and meeting sort of people in real life, and it's like, oh, you've read my book and you enjoyed it. Like, sounds suspicious, but sure.
What was that actually like? Was that mind-blowing? Was that did you have a moment in the middle of that where you're going, what is this? What?
Yeah, and very nerve-wracking. I'm not like a great public speaker. I'm definitely a rambler. Can you tell? But it was really good, and like the sense of community as well. Like, obviously everyone's there for a similar reason, and you know, not everyone there's even read your book, but you know, they're all interested in the genre, so it is quite fun.
And what was it that made you want to write so much? Because as you say, you are you're an aerospace engineer by day.
Classic career path.
Totally is. That sounds like it might take up quite a lot of your time. What specifically do you do?
So I work in like aerospace safety.
All right.
So when we have a plane that has a crash or a near crash or any kind of thing go wrong, it's like looking into what happened there, how can we stop it happening again, and you know, is it safe for the rest of that fleet to fly?
Right.
So
Wow.
Can be a bit depressing, and sometimes it can be exciting.
No, but a great way to get out of that sort of depressing thing about investigating into people's deaths is to write a book about someone investigating into people's deaths.
Exactly.
Hang on a minute.
I just love misery, I think. As a lot of authors do.
Are you? I'm guessing you're really enjoying the whole author thing.
Yeah, it is fun. It's hard at times because you've put so much, like engineering, obviously. I didn't design the plane. I care about the plane, but I didn't.
Yeah.
And, you know, when something goes wrong with the plane, I don't take it personally. Whereas when it's something that you've created, such as a book, you know, if something goes wrong or you've been tagged in a negative review, it is hard, even though I know I shouldn't take it personally. You know, you do sometimes just think, you put your heart into that book. I'm not saying I don't put my heart into like drain valves at work, but it is fun, and it is a real blessing. I mean, I haven't lost sight of the girl last year who, you know, was. I mean, I have the post-it note. It literally says, you know, I wanted to have 1,000 adds to Goodreads. That was like my big goal, and I'd done that in like week 1. So.
But you've given yourself no choice but to get further stuck into it by calling this book 1.
Yeah, I know, and ending it on a horrific cliffhanger.
So is book 2, is that all done and dusted? Where are we at with that one?
It's in progress. In
good progress or in gritted teeth progress, or where are we at? It's been in semi-good progress,
and I'm kind of finding my groove, but it is due on the 1st of September, so...
Right, which isn't...
It's going to have to get into really good progress soon.
Yeah.
So that's the... What would that be? That's the first draft finished in September? Or that's when... Right.
So, you know, it can be a little bit messy.
You kind of alluded to that in your acknowledgements at the back of Nightshade, that your thanks to the people that had helped turn the first draft into something. Are you a messy first drafter? Or
I am a bit. I'm not much of a plotter. I do plot. So basically at the beginning of any book I work out, you know, what's my rough word count. So for this one I said I want it to be like 96,000 words, an odd target.
I mean, it's a target, isn't it? Focuses the mind.
Yeah, it's a target. So then I just thought, how many chapters? Let's say 30. So then I did 96 divided by 30, and then that's how many, you know, I want like roughly 3,000 words a chapter.
Wow, you really are an engineer, aren't you, when it comes
I am. It's a very numbers-driven approach.
Yeah.
And then I just write a list 1 to 30, and I have to, in one sentence, summarise what happens in that chapter on an A5 piece of paper. And if it doesn't fit on my A5 piece of paper, then I revisit it because it's probably not like concise enough. But I mean, it's really simple. It's like chapter 1, they meet in a car and have an argument. Chapter 2, you know, she discovers that someone is hunting her. And then I go straight into drafting from that list. So I'm not much of a plotter, but when I do plot, my characters misbehave and don't do what I've planned for them. So.
It sounds good. It sounds like a good balance between, over-plotting and... keeping it fresh.
Yeah, because I think you can get too attached to your ideas, can't you? Especially even in the editing stage, you know, your editor might be like, this scene, it's not working. And I'd be like, what is the best scene? Like, don't make me cut it out.
Yeah,
but,
that's what they say, isn't
yeah.
it? But I always find it difficult once you've written something in a story, almost in your head you're going, well, yeah, but that's what happened.
Yeah,
and
I know.
Then someone get rid of that, you go, but yeah, but that's what happened.
And I'm like, well, okay, if I cut it out, it still happened. The readers just aren't going to know about
exactly,
it.
Yeah. So it's a bit weird.
They're missing out.
Yeah, then they just won't know.
Yeah.
Autumn, can we come back to TikTok? Because I'm interested in this whole thing.
Oh,
this
yeah.
This
absolutely.
is a whole world that
Yes.
we don't really know, so we're kind of exploring. But
yeah. I mean, I'm a TikTok newbie. I didn't make it until January, but I'm learning.
But it would seem that a lot of the kind of marketing strategy for the book is driven by TikTok, essentially, by booktokers who are recommending books to people. They're kind of like the new gatekeepers, aren't they? They're no one's reading book recommendations in The Guardian. They're going to the people who they trust.
Yeah.
They're going to the people who like the same things, essentially.
They're like the drug pushers on the street corner.
They are.
That's exactly
Go on,
it.
try it. Go on, just have a bit of this. Come on.
So how many books do you think get sent out to TikTokers?
Well, for me, when I'm self-published, I didn't send any,
Right.
I never do that. I never send... I just like an organic buzz. And, I mean, even for the first probably 3 months of Nightshade, a lot of people were telling me, I see your book everywhere on TikTok. And I was like, show me the videos, though. And then they sent me them, and they're all mine.
Oh, right, okay.
So for the first three sort of months... everyone was telling me, I see your book everywhere on TikTok, but it was only my videos. And I felt like I was kind of speaking into the void and like nobody else is talking about it. And then only probably since I went trad do I feel like, probably because I'm now with a publishing house who have a sort of budget for sending books out, are people talking about it. So there was definitely an element of like, everyone was seeing my book everywhere, but that was only because I'd had like 4 viral videos in the week.
I see.
So it skews their view that everyone's posting about it, but actually it's just
That's
me.
quite handy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So was it just available on Kindle Unlimited originally?
Yeah.
Or it was available as a...
It was like a paperback but only on Amazon, and then Kindle Unlimited.
Right.
And do you think the sort of the romance genre is particularly well suited to the TikTok audience?
It's definitely suited to TikTok and fantasy, romantasy.
Yeah.
And maybe sometimes like historical and thriller I see on there as well. But I think TikTok has a big Kindle Unlimited kind of audience. So the two are sort of interlinked.
Right.
You know, every time I post a video, the first comment is always like, is it on KU?
Because they're rapid and avid consumers of books. It's kind of the...
Yeah,
it's
probably.
just-
I mean, I'm a slow reader,
Yeah.
but I know some people who, you know, easily finish a book in a sort of day, which is crazy to me, but...
Yeah, there's quite a lot of your fans who say that. I didn't put it down.
I know,
I I read through the night, I woke up...
And I'm like, that was like a whole year of my life and you just inhaled it in one sleepless night.
wolfed it.
It's crazy, but nice.
One thing I noticed is that over the last few years, or it may have been going on longer, but I certainly noticed it over the last few years, presumably as a consequence of book talk and stuff like that, but people have developed an entire language for the very specific kind of literary genres that they're drawn to. Like, there's a whole shorthand vernacular for the tropes in a story.
Oh, yeah, definitely
so
tropes.
people know exactly what they're getting.
Yeah.
So Nightshade, you can test me here. Tell me if I'm wrong, is a new adult,
Yeah.
low spice, dark academia, enemies to lovers, he falls first, grumpy ex-grumpy romance. Is that pretty good?
That sounds about right. Definitely. But yeah, you're right. There is definitely a lot of like emphasis on tropes at the minute. I think that again comes from social media, like in bookshops and in the sort of like newspapers and magazines, it's the sort of premise of the book that gets put in there. You know, like a young girl goes to Scotland to investigate her parents' death. But on social media, people want to know. They want to know all the details. So I try and give some that aren't like spoilers, because some tropes, they really...
Yeah, they tell you exactly what's going to
They
happen.
tell you the ending almost. So I try and do ones that aren't spoiler. But yeah, definitely people love the tropes.
Do you know if that kind of very distinct labelling is specific to romance, or have other genres begun to kind of label their tropes in the same way?
I've definitely seen like a few on like thrillers and historical, but I don't know if it would take off in like non-fiction. But yeah, just things like also like micro tropes. People say like man on a mission or a road trip, an adventurous road trip. They're almost like little snippets of like what you can expect.
I mean, it's genius, really, isn't it? Because if you're the kind of person that really knows what you like, then it's like, well, I'm gonna like, you're gonna like it.
Yeah, like for me, Nightshade, both characters are very grumpy and miserable and down on life, and some people just love that dynamic where they're both, because there's another one that's grumpy sunshine when you have a very grumpy member of the relationship and a very cheery one. But
I love it.
But sometimes people are sort of saying tropes at me, and I'm like, I don't know what this means. Like cinnamon roll golden retriever.
It's gone too far. Yes.
But yeah, they are definitely a fun way to describe a book, and very handy for like social media
definitely.
graphics as well.
I suppose it's just the shorthand, isn't it? In the same way that a movie trailer, when it's condensed into a 10-second YouTube or TV ad, it takes the shortcuts, doesn't it?
You know what you're getting.
Yeah.
I suppose it's just doing that, but in a cool down with the kids TikTok kind of way.
Exactly. I feel like I'm pretending to be down with the kids, but yeah.
Well, you're nearer to the kids and further down than we are, I would imagine. So
I am.
Closer.
I am.
You wanna hip hop, skip blocks, you got TikTok. It's what will make your book sing on the internet thing. Don't want a big flop with your lip pop. You wanna sit top like shit hot on the Sunday Times bestseller charts while the rest of the world just falls apart. I'd rather lick rock than flip flop. You got a TikTok, not pit stop. Like be down with the kids if you wanna get along in this crazy biz.
There's another aspect of your book, and I suppose like book sales for this genre particularly, which is the hard copy is very important. The aesthetics of the artwork and the cover and the sprayed edges and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And, it would seem from looking at quite a few of the TikTok videos about your book that lots of people read the Kindle version, but then once they've read it, they'll go out and buy the fancy copy with the shiny writing and the,
trophy copy.
That's amazing. Selling 2 copies?
Yeah.
You're probably selling 3, to be fair, because you've got different covers.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who sort of collect editions, and I actually had a nice edition in the works, which yesterday I hit the Sunday Times bestseller list, and I highly
brilliant.
Well done.
suspect that special edition in the works is to blame.
Oh, well done, Autumn.
My editor rang me and I was like, this is not a funny prank. And then I thought, Nightshade by Michael Connolly just came out. So I was like, you've got the wrong book. But yeah, crazy. But yeah, definitely like trophy copies and book boxes as well is a big thing now, like subscription boxes.
Oh, right, yeah.
So you obviously saying you do some cover designing as well. Did you have any hand in the cover design then, or were you just kind of a bit of a passenger?
Well, the indie edition, obviously they kept the cover from indie to trad. So
right, okay.
I worked with my cover designer to create that design, and then thankfully both publishing houses liked it enough to keep it. Wow. And then the Works edition, I designed the cover with an illustration by someone else on the front, and then I hand drew the illustration for the edges.
Oh, I see. Brilliant.
It's quite fun. Like, they did send me a cover design, and I sort of didn't mean to like steamroll it, but I was like, I know what will go viral, and let me just tweak the design a little bit, because I know that readers will love this particular design. And then I also drew my special edition, but yeah, I love
and it turns out you can probably sit there quite smugly and go, I was right, wasn't I?
Yeah.
Actually.
It does look nice, especially with foiling. I love a foiled book.
Out of interest, where do you find... You were talking about your editor before, and you were just talking about your cover designer. Where do you find these people?
I actually went to find my like original cover designer for the normal edition. I went to Waterstones and like picked up a few books where I was like, I love that cover. That's exactly what I want. And if you just look at the back, it will say... So from my designer, Emily, it said cover design by Emily Wittig, and I was like, that's great, I'm going to email this girl, and I did, and she could fit me in, so...
Brilliant.
Same with my editor, I just wanted one that had great qualifications and experience editing, like, books in the genre, and I found this one, and she actually couldn't fit me in for, like, 7 months, but I just waited because I knew that, I don't know, I'd read a few books by her, and... Definitely, if you're looking for an editor, it's worth kind of looking at the books that they've edited and checking the reviews.
Yeah.
Because there are a couple where, like, there was sort of a running theme where the reviews were like, this book should have had an editor, and I was like, oh God, like it did. So yeah, check reviews and just find like similar to what you want.
How much did the book change after hiring that editor? How much did Nightshade change from your first draft?
I mean, quite a lot. I mean, the editor was amazing. To the point where when it got picked up trad, it never went through even a minor edit, really.
Oh, wow.
Because they were so happy with her job. But she's done like lots of sort of trad books and bestsellers. So, I mean, it changes on so many levels. It changes on like just the grammar and the words, and then also just on the structure. And there's so many like continuity errors in your book that you don't notice when you're editing it yourself. Like, oh, in chapter 1 he lives at number 48, and in chapter 10 this very minor character lives at number 49, or why is he going up the stairs? He lives in a bungalow, and like just things like that I would never pick up on myself. I think one of the key bits to being an author is knowing when to care about criticism and when not to. And that editing phase is a time to sort of put your pride aside, and you've been locked up in this book for so long that you just think it's right, and you think, like, I've written it as best as I can. You probably haven't. I mean, when has anyone ever done anything perfect on the first try? So it's like putting your pride aside, and this person whose job it is to, like, edit books is telling you that chapter 6 is choppy and too fast-paced and hard to understand, and you just need to accept, okay, they're probably right, I probably need to change it, because it's the things that you ignore, and then obviously you see your first review and they're like, didn't like chapter 5, and you're like, damn it. But then on the other side, knowing when to not care, and for me that's now, the book is out. Don't look at your reviews. I know so many author friends who will like wake up each morning and then filter their reviews bad to good because they're like morbidly curious.
That cannot be healthy.
No, it can't. But yeah, so
it's not a good thing to do.
You need to know when to care, and once your book is out and in the world, that's the time to stop caring. You get plenty of criticism from your editors and alpha readers and agents, so it's just time to put your pride aside and then suddenly not care anymore.
Definitely. And how important is a cover, like the artwork?
I think it's not as important as you think it is in the moment.
Right.
Like, I remember when, my UK publisher were changing the colour of my cover slightly. In the US it's like this dark purple, and in the UK it's gone a bit bluer, and I was like, people aren't even going to recognise it, like, whoa. And then, nobody cares. Obviously, I would say there are a few things, like you want your title and name to be very visible. People will post it in like wrap-ups or in news articles, and there'll be a tiny icon. So you want your title to be visible. And for my first book, which was like low stakes romantasy. I was like, I'm going to make a cover that's different from the genre. It's going to stand out. Bad idea, because like people scrolling on Amazon are like, well, that doesn't look like the kind of book I read. So you actually want it to look similar to other, you know, books in your genre. So so the only rules I would have is like similar to books in your genre, a very clear title and author name, and not using AI, because there's like a whole host of readers and a whole chunk of readers that will just sort of not read your book if you use AI.
That's so obvious as well.
It is, you know. I'm like, oh, the main character has 7 fingers, does he? Like, great. can't wait to read it.
It'd be terrible if that is actually part of your story, though.
Yeah, that
and
is
you've got,
true.
you know, it's not. It's actually part of the story. It's quite an important part of the story.
But yeah, it's always very obvious, and it doesn't have a very sort of human look to it.
Uncanny valley.
This is quite a personal question now, Autumn, but I feel like you've done a good job of kind of separating your author life with the rest of your life in a way.
Yeah, definitely.
Early on, was that a kind of, I'm going to make that decision to almost be a sort of like a version of yourself that is the public-facing bit?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's important. Same as any other job, you know, like when I come home from my job, I get on the train and that train is the off switch for me. And then, you know, this is similar, like, it is a career. Obviously, it's a very, like, you put your heart into it, but I mean, I probably kept things too separate. I didn't even tell my family about Nightshade until after I'd sold my US rights.
Wow.
Because obviously I was like, they're going to have so many questions, like, how am I paying my bills on my sabbatical? But yeah, it is deliberate, especially, like, you have to have other things going on. You have to have friends that don't care. You know, it sounds harsh, but they don't care about the book world. You need that. And you need to just, like, if you put everything into that book author career and it's all your friends are authors as well, and all you care about is the authoring, when something goes wrong, or let's say, you know, you get rejected by an agent, or your agent puts your book on submission and it doesn't sell, it feels like the world is crumbling. But I remember, you know, like telling my mum, oh, I've been rejected by an agent, and she's like, okay. Okay, what does that even mean? And I'm like, oh, don't worry, actually, you're right, it's nothing. So, yeah, you need to have that separation, otherwise you'll never switch off.
It's good to have those people in your life as well, isn't it? Keep you
definitely.
on your feet,
like, you know, I have so many friends who just, even telling them I was on Sunday Times, you know, list, which for me is like, you know,
they're like, what?
I've completed everything. They're like, isn't every author on the Sunday Times list? And I was like, yeah, you're right.
easy that one. Anyone can do that, couldn't they? Just
So you need some, like, it just helps keep you grounded, I think, and keep your eye on the bigger picture.
So this is going probably a little bit too far into the future, but following this duology, what follows? Have you got any sort of sense? Is there any pressure on you to do something similar, or do you want to go back to that original book? What do you feel is next? Or are you just going to give it up now? Now you've hit the highs, just go back to...
Just quit while you're ahead.
Go back to engineering.
Authoring, I've completed
done it,
No, so if I was still self-publishing this series, it was going to be 5 books.
Oh, okay.
So the next step would probably be to, like, approach my US editor and my UK editor, and then any of, like, all my foreign rights editors, and just say, you know, are you interested in continuing the series, or would you not? And then that would help me make up my mind, obviously. But I didn't really have any, like, pressure on myself to... I'll write something else. I mean, I get a new book idea, like, every other day and write it in my notes app, and some of them are terrible and some of them are probably winners. And even, like, going back to self-publishing, I think when I repolish that romantasy book from a couple of years ago, that's best placed in self-publishing. I don't even think I would want it to be trad published, so... Yeah, just a mixture of, like, carrying on trad if I'm able, and also self-publishing, but again, not really putting any real pressure on myself, because that's how I sort of would probably crumble.
Very sensible.
Yeah.
Very sensible.
Yeah.
When do you write? Do you write in the evenings? Are you a weekend writer? How have you fitted it in, you know, when you have been working?
I write on my phone, which is probably a bad habit, but when I was, you know, obviously until last year, I was working full-time and also doing a degree full-time in the weekends.
Oh, God.
So I really didn't have any time at home. So I was just writing on my phone, like waiting for coffee, or my lunch break at work, or like at the back of a lecture hall when I should be listening. But now I'm on sabbatical, I was able to buy a laptop. And I still miss writing on my phone. There's just something about it, which is terrible, I know. But,
hey, no judgment.
And for me, like, sort of the worse mood I'm in, the better.
Right.
When I'm in the sort of sunshiny mood and, you know, you want to get into the headspace of characters who are
Two
often
grumpy
going
characters.
through a lot. Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, Ophelia, my female character, couldn't be more miserable. Like, she's just so pessimistic and probably draining to be around, I imagine. Like, anything that happens, she's like, it's all my fault, everything's gone wrong. So, like, when I'm in a sunshiny mood, you know, I find myself writing Ophelia's lines like, oh, never mind, you know, this will be fine. And then I'm like, no, that's not what she'd say. So, yeah, and often that comes with, like, late nights when I'm tired, so...
So you just starve yourself of sleep, and then eventually at, like, 3 o'clock in the morning...
exactly.
you'll be in the zone.
I'm, like, sobbing over my laptop. But, yeah, I always find in a day I either write really not many words or, like, a ridiculous amount of words, and there's not much in between. I need to find my routine.
Well, maybe you do, maybe you don't. Maybe that's just... Everyone's different, aren't they?
Sometimes the words just don't come, do they? It's frustrating, but it's just the way it is.
Yeah, and I think sometimes you've got to be willing to step away from that, haven't you, rather than trying to push through. You've got to know when it's right to try and wring them out regardless, or to step away.
Yeah, because sometimes I try and, like, just push through it, and then the next day I go back to the writing and I'm like, this is horrific.
That was a complete waste of time that really hurt.
It was as bright as the colour white, and she was as tall as she was tall. And I'm like, great, this is terrible. So yeah, like walking away is good advice.
I find that amazing that, so correct me if I'm wrong, are you saying that most of Nightshade was written on a phone?
The whole first draft.
It's how the kids do it these days, John.
See, I just
They've
think
got like
amazing,
TikTok open on one app and then writing app on another one. They're just doing both at the same time. So best of luck with the rest of this book, and hope it can sneak its way a little bit higher in the Sunday Times list, maybe even.
We can hope.
And that should set you up nicely for a big release of book 2 as well, and hopefully carry on from there to finish your quintilogy. I don't know what we call them.
I have no idea. Yeah, we're calling it that. But yeah, no, best of luck. Best of luck with it all. Thank you so much.
And I don't really read romance books, but I quite enjoyed your book. Don't tell anyone.
Okay, I won't tell anyone.
Yeah, no, it's great. Really good, really good. So
Thank you.
Would recommend it to people. If they've maybe thinking, oh, that's not my kind of thing, well, maybe it is, people.
Yeah, give it a go.
Maybe it is.
Yeah.
Don't judge.
It's a good little segue if you like maybe like thrillers and mystery, but you're intrigued by romance.
Yeah, there's a nice thread of mystery running through it. Well, thank you very much, Autumn.
Thank you so much.
Good luck with everything.
I might need it.
No.
Thank you.
No. I wasn't going to say it, but I'm going to say it anyway, Tom. What a lovely chat and what a lovely person. And actually very, very wise, I thought, as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Got a head sewn on,
I was
right?
to say, yeah, head screwed on, as you would expect from an aerospace engineer, I guess. There's,
I suppose, yeah. But not reading reviews. I mean, how's she managing that? That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant thing to do. Very canny.
So do you think you've now got a full grasp of the cool kids' social media aspect of things? Is that a done deal?
To be honest, Tommy, it sounds a little bit like it's a numbers game, doesn't it?
I guess it's the same as everything. It's less of an absolute science.
Yeah.
There's stuff you can do that's generally good, but a lot of it's a little bit of luck and the wind blowing in the right direction.
I think a lot of it also is like really knowing your genre. That seems to be pretty key. Like you know what people like, because you've seen it and you've really looked into it. I think that's pretty key.
And I think something that stops me a little bit on social media, like when we're promoting the podcast or whatever with our social media accounts, is you kind of don't want to repeat what you've said. You want to kind of keep it fresh. And actually, you've got to understand that a lot of the time, most of the people that will see your second post about the same thing haven't seen the first post.
Yeah.
So you're talking to different people, but you always kind of feel like, shouldn't really say that. I've already said that, or we've mentioned that.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of not being scared just to go, well, yeah, I'm putting these out. I'm doing it again, doing it again, doing it again, doing it again.
Yeah. But that does seem like a kind of madness. Like I'm still quite loath to do that, even though I know that is probably quite a good idea. You just think, what? People think I've just gone nuts. I'm posting exactly the same thing that I posted last week.
This just gives me an intense fear of being like boring. It's like, not this again.
We should say if you want to get hold of a copy of Nightshade by Autumn Woods, we've stuck a link in the show notes for you, and I strongly recommend it if you're into low adult Hang on.
Oh, boy.
Let me look it up.
Get into this. Get into these genre messes.
Yeah. New adult, low spice, dark academia, enemies to lovers, he falls first, grumpy ex, grumpy romance. If that's your thing.
Or any of the genres around that as well.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that particular genre.
It doesn't have to be that specific.
As wide a genre as that is in itself.
But yes, it is. It's a really cracking read.
It is. It is.
You know what else that chap made me think of, Tommy?
What was that?
It made me think, what a cool name Autumn's got. I mean, you kind of kicked off our chat talking about her name.
Yeah.
I was thinking if we publish a book, we need to be a bit cleverer about our name. Like, how nice to have a name that's like a location in nature.
Right.
That's pretty awesome. But I've come up with some suggestions, Tom.
How did I know that was going to be the next thing you said?
Come
on then.
If you're ever thinking, hey, I wouldn't mind having a nice nature-based name, do you ever think that?
Yeah.
You might do.
Yeah.
Or anyone else listening, please go ahead and borrow these. I really don't mind. So the first one is, the first one's obvious. Rocky Hill. Dale, Daleite. Cliffside, I think it's quite nice. Orna Seashore.
Oh, that's nice.
Kay's a nice name. Kay Ventrance. Indigo's kind of cool name. Indigo Bee Desert.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that one coming. You got to the point where I was trying to guess these. I was never going to guess that one.
Probably not. And Willow Beiderbecke, I think is quite nice.
That's good. That's actually a very good one, that one.
Isn't it?
That sounds like a Booker Prize winner, that one.
Yeah, it could be, yeah.
Yeah.
My favourite, which means obviously, I'm sorry you won't be able to use this one because I've bagsed it.
I can almost hear the size of disappointment there.
Is Pete Bog.
Right.
It's quite nice, isn't it?
That sounds like, if you pardon the pun, very sort of earthy look. A bit like a northern writer writing about gritty northern locations.
Exactly, and that's why I'm taking that one.
Right, you're going to do some...
Pete Bog.
Yeah.
But I think they really evoke a kind of lovely aura for your book, don't they?
Yeah.
I think it really works. So feel free to borrow them if you want to.
I bet Autumn's glad she got in there first with Autumn Woods, because that wasn't far away from your list, was it?
Yeah, that probably is the best one, to be fair. She's nabbed it early.
Yeah.
Hey, Tommy, so you know Katie Holloway.
Last year's Flash Fiction winner.
Yes, who very kindly performed a little cameo for us in the previous episode.
She did, didn't she? She
did.
did. So hopefully she sticks to the writing rather than the acting. I'm sorry, Kate, I'm just teasing.
Well, she did an excellent job.
She did.
Couple of things. It turns out she is actually currently querying a novel.
Yeah.
And she's already had 2 full manuscript requests.
I know, how brilliant is that?
Amazing. Which sort of potentially makes a mockery of our little skit last week.
Yes, it does. That could have been
a tiny bit.
What's the opposite of foreshadowing? Unforeshadowing. Yeah.
So that book, the book she's querying, is apparently a contemporary romance about books and how they connect and change us, which I thought actually sounds like something we all need at the moment. I can see that doing quite well.
I'm not sure about that. I think probably if you've got time just to put in a quick call to her and get her to change her name to a nature location, then I think...
And then she's got a chance.
Yeah. Maybe Katie Wagonway instead of Holloway, like one of these disused railways that had now turned into a scenic cycle path or something. I don't know.
But fingers crossed for you, Katie.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
very exciting. But we're not done with Katie Holloway just yet, because she's also sent us a piece for our Hype Writer feature.
For our what, John?
Our Hype Writer feature. Which actually, before we play the ditty, if you're not familiar, we should tell some of our listeners who don't know what Hype Writer is all about, Tommy. What is it?
It's a chance for you, our listeners, to send in writing that you are proud of or didn't get a chance to share, or sent it somewhere and it just fell into the abyss and you still want people to hear it. And it could be the start of a novel, it could be some flash fiction, a poem, anything that you've written that you're proud of. Send it to us, and if we like it, we'll put it on the podcast.
Send it over to failingwriterspodcast@gmail.com and it could get featured here in this little plot of free real estate called
Hype Writer, the right type of acclaim we all need occasionally, 'cause you're a mighty fighter, the type who lights up the writing world with your beautiful words.
Right, so John, this here thing that Katie sent in.
Yes.
This is one of those novella in flash things, isn't it?
It is, yes.
People will be very aware that often, to help explain things and so people don't feel... I'll often play the dumb kind of, I don't know what this is. I don't actually know what this is, John. What is a novella in flash? It's been mentioned before. Kathy Hoyle mentioned it when she was on previously and things. And I've always just nodded and gone, oh, yeah, one of them.
Yeah, my introduction to one was Kathy Hoyle's Chasing the Dragon.
Yeah.
I read a couple of years back, which I loved. And that was my little introduction to it. I recommend that, by the way, if you're interested in what the form can do. But, it's basically a novella made up of little bits of writing, little flash pieces. And it's as simple as that.
So they're just mini chapters?
Yeah, I mean, they're not necessarily called chapters, but yeah, that's essentially what it is, yeah.
And in this one that Katie's done, each flash chapter is from a different person's perspective.
Yeah.
Is that a normal
Although
is that a
this
normal
is
thing?
actually
Is that, go on.
This is actually the first chapter. So all these flash pieces make up the first chapter. I'm kind of assuming we go back and then we hear more from the same people.
Okay.
I don't know how it works.
So it's like lots of threads of stories told through flash.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
But yeah, this was shortlisted in the Bath Novella in Flash Award last year.
Oh, wow.
But she says, I'm quoting her here, I think it's a bit too odd, a bit too British, and a bit too niche to be of any interest to even the most indie of indie publishers. So I'm thinking I might serialise it and publish it on Substack. But while I'm mulling that over, maybe you would fancy the first chapter.
I mean, to be fair to her there, what she's accidentally done is that's a very intriguing pitch, isn't it? That something's too weird and too British or whatever. It makes you think, that sounds interesting.
It does, yeah. So, should we have a listen?
Let's.
Cups of Tea at the End of the World by Katie Holloway. Day 0. Rosie. Funtime Amusements, Camber Sands. This is not a drill.
Everything hinges on signposts I've ignored all day. For years, actually. An alert shrills out from everyone's phone. Worse than any midnight baby cry. My guts say run, so I do. A child under each arm. I pound the seafront to the nearest shelter, the amusements. I told the kids we definitely couldn't go to the penny machines today because of their squabbling. And now our lives depend on us getting there. And we get there. We make it. We tumble through the nuke-proof barriers and jelly onto the floor. Dylan shouts he wants to do it again, clutching him and Tilly to me as if I could morph the three of us into one. I almost hate him for just a moment for finding this fun. My heart swells and reaches out like it could home in on Jack. I rub my wedding ring with my thumb, as if that could conjure him.
Joe, private office suite, Downing Street. A circle just keeps going. Extract from report number NE231 dated 23/3/2021. Number of nuclear shelters successfully installed into existing public buildings, 59,330. Total capacity of shelters combined, 7,120,000. Total population of the UK, 67,330,000.
I've never believed in God or fate or whatever. Life just happens. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's crap. Even giving birth didn't feel like a miracle. It just happened. It was messy and painful, yeah, but not exactly miraculous. Just what happens after you get carried away on a Saturday afternoon when your mum's out. Today, though, I'm starting to wonder if maybe it's not random after all. I can't believe today was the day I'd bring Max to work with me. His nursery closing probably saved his life. It's too much of a coincidence. The thought of him not being here with me makes me feel cold and sweaty at the same time. I knew I could get into trouble for bringing him, but I couldn't lose a day's pay. This job, the cleaning, making teas, has different rules to other workplaces, NDAs and that. In the year and a half I've been here, I've overheard all kinds of stuff. Most of it's gone over my head though, but to be honest, when I started, I couldn't tell the Prime Minister apart from the other suits. The topic of nuclear shelters was something they kept circling back to. How do you circle back though? A circle just keeps going.
Sarah, Westgate Senior School, Liverpool. 100 years of solitude.
I hadn't been able to picture my first day back at work, but never imagined this. I'd been looking forward to the routine, the distraction of the classes of teenagers, to being busy instead of sagging off. It was the being alone after work I was dreading. I'd worry that when my teacher mask came off, all my grief would pour out at once. Now I don't know how long it'll have to stay dammed up. Maybe when we get the all clear, it will come, won't it? I'll emerge from this hall, finding I've got over my grief. Years ago, before I met Pete, my Uncle Jim, who'd been a heavy smoker for 30 years, had flu and stayed in bed for a fortnight. By the time he'd recovered, he never wanted a ciggy again. Could this be like that? There'll be a lot of young widows now. I suppose, like me, they never thought it would happen to them. Unlike me, they'll have a shared experience, a joint anniversary, a common grief. I've got a more drawn-out journey of oxygen tubes, white corridors, visiting times, until my Pete just petered out.
Catherine, Epsom Free Church. God is good.
What I know. 1, I'm safe. 2, I didn't even have to move. 3, I've got it good. 4, there are 24 of us here with supplies for 75. 5, this is a blessing. 6, the relief that John hadn't listened to me when I told him we shouldn't have part of the church turned into a shelter is so strong it buckles my knees. 7, our manse is next door. 8, if John had been home, he would be here now. 9, I never pay enough attention to his schedule. 10, the kids' school has both halls converted into shelters. 11, I've seen the paperwork. I know that even the biggest can only shelter 150 people. 12, it's a school of 450 students plus staff. 13, the women here are looking to me for guidance. 14, this is not what I signed up for when John became a pastor. 15, I was only expecting to lead a 1-hour women's Bible study. 16, God is good. 17, knowing something to be true and feeling it to be true are two different things.
Emily, Westgate Senior School, Liverpool. Indiana Jones's hat.
I never even liked the Temple of Doom. It's Dad's favourite. Mum loves us all to watch films together on Sunday afternoons. And even though I'm the oldest, every time Dad picks it, I always sit there, like scrolling through my phone, basically pretending I'm not terrified, even though I know what's going to happen. Every time we watch it, I worry somehow it could be different. Indy might not make it. His hand might get cut off, literally, for a hat. I sip tea that's got sugar in it, even though I don't like sugar in tea. But yeah, it's meant to help with shock, I guess. I try to push out a picture from my mind, like I'm trying to cram the zip on my bag shut when there's way too much stuff in there. I don't think I'll ever forget that barrier closing. Mr. Gable using a broom to shove out a chaos of arms that were desperate to get in, until it shut with a bang.
So that was a different Katie. That was Katie Rand bringing that to life. Thank you, Katie.
Yeah.
So, Tom.
Yeah.
What do you think of the? Now you've seen it in action. What do you think of the novella in Flash format? Taken by it?
I don't know. I don't know if it's. I don't know if I'd just get confused. Like, it's too many things
Too
going
much
on.
things, yeah.
Too many little things. But it's quite interesting, isn't it? As a way of writing, that you haven't got when you're writing a full chapter, you've got a lot of time to kind of go where you want and go around. But with the Flash thing, it's got to be like, boom, smash.
Yeah.
Here's your bit of info, and here's it, and it's got to be nicely done.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of time to fall for the characters, do you?
No.
You get such a tiny. You've got to do some quite clever stuff to make you care, which I think Katie's very good at.
Yeah, and I thought as well, it's quite a nice exercise for a writer, isn't it, to be so explicitly putting yourself in the head of each character in those short terms.
Yeah.
To try and make them different and sound different and be different.
I think it's interesting. I think for something like this, it's really good because the subject matter is quite unsettling.
Yeah.
And because you never really have a chance to settle in what you're reading, you've got this constant sort of shift in texture.
Which is kind of how that situation would be if it happened.
Yeah.
Everyone's a bit up in the air and don't know what's going on and panicky and flip from that to that to that.
Yeah. So I think for this, it actually works really well. It's kind of choppy and, like I say, unsettling.
Yeah, definitely kind of reflected some of the stuff that we kind of grew up with in the sort of the end of the Cold War type stuff, where nuclear war was always just sat on the shoulder of humanity, wasn't it, for a little while?
Yeah. It was one of Katie's, my wife Katie, who voiced that. It was one of her like deep, dark fears from her youth.
Yeah.
Properly used to go to bed like shaking and terrified sometimes.
Which is a real shame, because if only she'd known that if you took one of your internal doors off and propped it against the side of your stairs, as per the government literature sent out, you'd be absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. Anything but a direct hit. Yeah, you're fine. Yeah. Absolutely fine.
I did say to Katie, bloody hell, your brain goes to some dark places. Do you maybe need a holiday? Quite dark, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard to tell where it goes after this.
Yeah.
Because presumably they're in shelters, drinking a cup of tea, not really knowing when they can leave. Where does it go?
I think as well with this format as well, you can have some really interesting stuff where you've got you're not going to just get conversations between the characters. So you've got the two women that are obviously at the same school when it happens. I'm assuming they'll meet later on, and then so you'll hear their interaction from her side and one side and the other. Yeah. As well in that kind of...
Yeah, that's the only two that are in the same place, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, whether other people meet as well after, I don't know. But just in this format, you've got quite an interesting dynamic there, because it feels very kind of closed off because it's in these little bubbles of flash.
Yeah.
It's not just the same as them meeting in a omniscient narrator kind of piece.
Yes.
It's sort of
you're right.
Very internalised.
You get to see it potentially from two sides.
Which often, you obviously do get that in novels, but it's very much more tends to be, when they do that from a different perspective in novel, you kind of got a full chapter in X's view, and then the next chapter might be in someone else's. But these are so short that you kind of like, it's like little bursts of thought, isn't it?
What a final image, by the way. That's just horrendous. That's, I think the narrator basically says, I'm not going to forget that in a while, and it is a bit like that. Very good. Very dark, but very good.
Yeah, it's definitely, your description of it, Katie, was pretty much spot on, I would say. It is a bit weird, but that's fine.
We like weird. Look forward to seeing that on your Substack. I'm guessing, we'll drop a link to Katie's Substack as well, so you can have a look, and hopefully she'll publish that at some point, and you can find out what happens. Right. Well, that was excellent. We should do a final reminder, shouldn't we, that our flash fiction competition ends at midday UK time on Friday the 24th of October. So have a go. Got an out to lose.
Still plenty of time. Yeah, absolutely. 300 words.
500 quid.
500 quid.
Just for doing something you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you want the details for that, that's at failingwriterspodcast.com, as usual.
And we've got another episode coming out next week as well, haven't we, John?
We have. We've got an unusual one, haven't we? But obviously brilliant. But
why is it unusual? Why are you saying it's unusual? What are you saying about them? Are you saying they're weird? You're saying our guests are weird?
I'm not saying they're weird. What I'm saying is it's an unusual one because we're mainly doing the episode because you love their YouTube channel.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So it's slightly different, as in their main job isn't writing.
They've got a book out.
Yeah, and that's why we're talking to them. But it's an absolute belter, so you must listen.
Yeah, your homework for this week, if you've never seen the Map Men on YouTube, is to get on there and have a look at some of their videos. They're quite entertaining, amusing, and informative.
Very entertaining. Genius sometimes, I would say. All right. Well, good luck with the writing, everybody. Yeah, and we'll see you next time for that, what I'm describing as an unusual episode.
Yeah, with the weirdos from Map Men, hey? Them two weirdos. Oh, God. Let's have a chat with them. May as well. Until then.
Bye.
See ya.
Hello?
Hello?
Where's everybody gone?